Kevin O'Leary is chairman of O'Shares Investments Advisors, but you probably know him as Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank.
I think it's wonderful that Shark Tank has lasted this long, but it's become an iconic platform in America.
The combination of Kevin's mother's family heritage as merchants and his father's Irish charisma truly meant that O'Leary was born for business. Today, we are going to show you what he has won with it. Number 3. Certificate. Brian and Jamie Ratner sought an investment for Certificate, their deal website for families with kids. Certificate is like Groupon, but for families. Instead of discounts on fine dining or beauty salons, the company deals with family outings and recreation, kids' summer camps and classes, children's theaters and museums, birthday party packages, and family getaways. Jamie started the business in 2010 with $5,000. At the time, she was a mommy blogger with a passion for daily deal sites like Groupon. What she found was there was no real good deal sites for family activities, so she started her own. Now, she and Brian claim they have the largest daily deal site for families out there. They originally started in the Washington, D.C. area, and eventually they expanded to Chicago, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and more. Ratner started the site because raising kids is expensive. She wanted a site that could save families money. It was a natural extension of her blogging. She wrote about finding inexpensive activities for kids in Greater DC. If you're familiar with Groupon, Certificates works in the same way. For parents with families, this is a great way to save on a family outing. But the Ratners don't think they need a shark, but they want a shark to help be the gasoline to their flame and help them reach their potential much more quickly. So, will a shark certify this business? They get right into the numbers after telling their story, and the sharks are impressed. They made $700,000 net income off $5 million in sales the previous year and have over $30 million in sales since opening the business in 2010. They wanted a shark's cash to help with growing their sales team. Currently, they have about 1 million subscribers to their deals newsletter, with roughly half of those people regularly engaging. The newsletter has a 10% open rate with a 14% click-through rate. The company makes money by taking a percentage of each deal purchased. The sharks share some concerns about the daily deals industry, but it doesn't take long for the offers to start coming. Damon offers $600,000 for 17.5% of the company. Barbara offers $600,000 for 25% contingent on franchising the concept. Kevin offers $600,000 for 20% contingent on him making 3 times the return on his investment on exit. After some wild negotiation between Brian and Kevin, they settle on $600,000 for 19%. This deal closed with Kevin, and the company is listed on his website. Since the original air date just 4 months ago, as of July 2019, the company added several new cities. This was a wonderful deal for all involved. As of January 2020, the company rolled out nationally. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic started a month and a half later. All the deals and activities on their site went dark. Jamie started finding companies with virtual or at-home activities. Brian, who happens to be a lawyer, sought federal relief and got a forgivable PPP loan. Now that things are opening back up, so is the business. As of June 2021, the company is back in business and offering deals. As of January 2023, their annual revenue is $5 million. Number 2. Groovebook. Brian and Julie, the couple, were seen on Shark Tank's episode 13, season 5, seeking an investment of $150,000 for 20%. Julie explains the concept of Groovebook.
Forget those expensive photo books. They'll take you hours online and then charge you an arm and a leg for printing and shipping. Groovebook is the answer,
which allows users to capture treasured moments and save them forever in an affordable manner, simply by taking your digital photos into a traditional photo album. The model works on a monthly subscription whereby users would get every month a new Groovebook with a new cover design. The cost to develop a photo album at just $3 was a good proposition. Brian developed their own printing shop and Groove Design, which further reduced their production and shipping costs to $2.30. Mark likes the idea and proposes $150,000 to license it to big businesses like Flickr or Shutterfly. Meanwhile, Kevin offers to buy out the whole company at $750,000, which the couple denied. Brian and Julie intended to grow their business along with sharks, and they were clear Groovebook was worth $6 million. Lori and Robert joined hands to propose a deal for $375,000 to buy 50% of the business. Again, the couple is afraid to go for a sellout. Mark and Kevin propose a counteroffer of $150,000 for an 80% on licensing deal. Between the licensing deal and the Shark Tank investment, Chris and Julie accepted the licensing deal with Kevin and Mark to close the deal at $150,000 for an 80% stake. After the Shark Tank episode, the company's subscription numbers skyrocketed overnight and cracked almost $500,000 in annual revenues instantly. After appearing on the Shark Tank, the duo received an overwhelming response within 5 days and planned to air again on the Shark Tank a couple of times thereafter. The next year, Groovebook gained its subscribers to 500,000 and topped $4 million in profits. As their Groovebook business grew, a big player saw an opportunity to score big. As the old business saying goes, if you can't beat them, then acquire them. Groovebook Photo app became one of the most successful products ever seen on the Shark Tank show, and one of the first ever to be acquired by a publicly traded company. Shutterfly acquired the Groovebook for $14.5 million. Shutterfly's already feeling the effects of partnering with a successful Shark Tank product with millions in free advertising for both companies. I wonder how many other publicly traded companies will now take notice of all the free publicity that goes along with the show and start actively targeting their own Shark Tank deal. The value of all businesses associated with the Shark Tank show has dramatically increased overnight because of this successful Groovebook deal. It's a historic game changer that no doubt will lead to even bigger and better deals when Wall Street realizes what Shutterfly has just accomplished. It's almost as good as going in the Shark Tank itself. You just can't buy this type of publicity for any amount of money. But if it's a business seen on the Shark Tank show, you're guaranteed a huge amount of free ongoing publicity benefiting both companies. Number 1. Plated. Nick and John came on the show in search of investment and expertise from the Shark. They needed an investment of $500,000 for a 4% stake in the company. They demonstrated that getting a decent meal on a daily basis is difficult and also not reasonable and healthy, to which Plated was a perfect solution. Lori questioned them if people could buy it from the store and also showed concerns that they would need to search for it. Robert asked them about margins, as he knew a food company has a terrible margin. After talking about figures, Robert went out as he didn't find it beneficial for himself. Lori had the same issue that people could cook their meals, to which it couldn't be scalable, and was out. Barbara and Mark felt the opposite of them and said that they had a target: those who don't cook or don't want to cook. Lori went out of the pitch. Kevin also did some inquiry and said about the appraisal and felt that he could do everything for $200,000. Nick and Josh informed Kevin that if he tried it, they would beat him, and Kevin went out. Barbara also had a few queries which made her go out. Mark was the only one left, and he said that he would like to be an investor rather than being a consumer, and gave an offer of $500,000 for 5.6% of the company. The duo wanted a moment for a small discussion, to which Mark said that he had given a fair offer. Plated founders accepted the deal and went out with a check. I know what you're thinking. Isn't Mr. Wonderful supposed to make the deal? Well, wait for it. After the Shark Tank episode, when Mark Cuban did a follow-up with Nick and Josh, they had second thoughts about the deal made during the show. The business was growing at a substantial rate, and as a result, decided to renegotiate the deal made on Shark Tank. Really? They had the wealthiest shark on the hook and surprisingly let him get away. If you're trying to tick Mark Cuban off, just try changing the terms of an already agreed upon deal. Within 4 months of the deal falling through with Mark Cuban, Plated Delivery Service was financially struggling with no angel investors in sight. The business couldn't keep expanding without capital investment and needed to start laying off some of the employees. At a chance encounter at a news event, Nick runs into Kevin O'Leary, who was interested in how the deal with Cuban was coming along. But as the deal with Mark never closed, Mr. Wonderful decided to take a closer look at the Plated business. How big is the potential market for gourmet food delivery? Well, according to Kevin O'Leary, delivering ready-to-cook gourmet meals was soon to become a $2 billion market. If there was one company positioned to capitalize on this growing trend, it was definitely plated food delivery. So a few days later, an investment deal with O'Leary closed for an unspecified amount, but most likely he got a better deal than Mark did on the Shark Tank show. Whatever percentage Kevin O'Leary owned of Plated Gourmet Delivery, it turned out to be a perfect partnership for all parties involved, as Plated Food Delivery was then doing tens of millions in sales from this barely 3-year-old company. And then came the day of distributing the pie. It was acquired by Albertsons in 2017 for $300 million, giving investors a well-invested return.